Hello, everyone, and welcome to I believe, our seventh podcast of 2024 of It's Your Life. Again, I'm Paul Zimney. I'm here with my partner, Shannon Carpenter. I'm here in St. Louis. I am a licensed insurance agent, of course, and a certified public accountant. Our goal, as always, is to help you improve your life, your family's life, and your legacy. So today we're going to be talking about kind of a surprise topic to Shannon because I'm going to be quizzing him. I've got 5 important questions to ask him, and we're going to see how he does in terms of his answers and his responses. But essentially, it's going to focus around making good decisions when it comes to life insurance. Okay. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right in here. Shannon, are you ready for question number 1?
I guess. Let's hit it.
Okay, question number 1. What are the leading causes of death here in the USA?
Let's see. I would say the leading cause of death in America is cancer, heart attack, stroke.
Oh, that's pretty darn close. You got the first 2 right. Cancer, heart disease are 1 and 2. They're always 1 and 2. Sometimes they change places.
After that, I would say accidents or old age.
Well, now you're hitting it on the button there. So actually back in 2021, COVID was number 3, believe it or not, COVID-19. That has tapered down, but number 3, if you dismiss COVID, is accidents, and then stroke is number 4.
Nice.
Okay. And then, of course, you get into Alzheimer's, chronic lower respiratory disease, diabetes is up there, influenza. Those kind of round out the top 7 or 8. Now, this is actually a part B question to question number 1. What is the leading cause of death between ages 0 and 44?
Between 0 and 44, I'm going to go with accident.
That is correct. Accident is by far the leading cause of death between 0 and 44. It's pretty eye-opening if you Google up a chart, as I did here earlier. And when it comes to, say, 0 to 15 years old, it's tenfold accidents is higher than any other disease. 15 to 24, tenfold. It's pretty much about tenfold on average. It tapers down a little bit in the 35 to 44-year-old range, but it is astronomically higher. The leading cause of death being accidents in that age range up to 44. Okay. Question number 2. You did pretty good on that first one.
Thanks. 20 points, right?
That's right. What is the difference in cost of whole life and term life insurance versus accidental death coverage?
So there's 3 parts to that, I'm guessing, is what you're looking for. Whole life is going to be the most expensive because it is going to cover you for your whole life. That's the easy way to remember it. It is guaranteed. You are going to die one day. I hate whenever agents sugarcoat that. They go into people's houses and they go, now, God forbid, honey, you were to die. No, you're going to die. Like, even Jesus died. He rose again on the 3rd day, but he did die. So you're going to die too. So whole life is guaranteeing that someone is going to get a check when you die. Therefore, it is the most expensive. Term is second. Term, you typically can do a 10, 20, or 30 year. Some companies do a 35 year. But once that term is up, you no longer have any, and they typically do not earn any cash value whatsoever. So at the end of the term, you basically now are a little bit older, and now you're looking for a whole life or a final expense product. And the cheapest one would be the accidental death. And I think we talked about some of these last week. So one of the cool things of accidental death, like you said, in those age groups, if you're going to pass away, it's typically going to be from an accident. And there's a lot of companies that we have now that have a very cheap accident plan. And for a little more money, you can even do that return of premium. So the way I look at it, it's kind of like a free plan. If you have an accident and you die, somebody gets a sizable check. If you make it through that period and you don't die, then you get all your money back. Kind of a win-win or a lose-lose, however you want to look at that.
Exactly. Okay. Very, very good. Yes. The accidental death coverage is by far the least expensive, per unit, per 1,000 of coverage versus whole and term life. Now, that doesn't discount the importance of whole and term life, because you don't know how you're going to pass away. And obviously those two programs cover anything, whereas the accidental death program covers only by accidents. But check this out. I was working with a new client earlier this morning, just this morning, and we priced out whole life and accidental death because she wants both. Now, she's 70 years old, so she's not even in this 0 to 44 age group. But look at the price difference. $20,000 of whole life for her is $170 a month, and $200,000 of accidental death for her is $30 a month. 10 times the coverage for whatever that is, about 1/6 the cost.
So what you're saying is that she needs to get accidental death, and then if she gets sick and dies, somebody needs to just like push her off a cruise ship, and then she's covered, right?
No, you can't run out in the middle of the street and get yourself run over. That's not an accident. That's not an accident. And by the way, when it comes to married couples, pushing your spouse down the steps to collect on the accidental death coverage does not count either. Okay.
Hey, it's an accident for the person that got pushed.
Yes. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. So keep that pricing difference in mind. It is really incredible what you can get for even $10, $20, $30, $40 a month on accidental coverage. And you can get up to, $500,000 in coverage. I think the most you would pay for that is like $70 a month. So it's pretty incredible from the cost standpoint. Now,
nice.
This is a tough question. Number 3 here. Up to what age, Shannon, can you typically purchase an accidental death policy?
I don't sell too much accidental death, so I am not 100%. I know that age 85 is pretty much the cutoff of getting any type of policy, but accidental death, I would say, is got to be a little bit earlier than 85. So you have to educate me on that one.
All right. Typically around 70. Around 70. So you typically can't get the accidental death up to the 80 or the 85 cutoff that a lot of companies have for whole life. For whatever reason, they cut it off at a little earlier age, but still up to 70 years old. One aspect that comes to mind that I think about sometimes when I'm meeting with people is, the older you are, also the more prone, as you get into your whatever 80s or 90s, the more prone you are to falling accidents, which are very typical. And unfortunately, if you look at statistics on falling deaths for older people, that generally causes or can cause, ultimate death as well. So
you better get one of those accident plans before you can't get one anymore, Paul.
Well, I must admit I am over 40. Okay, now question number 4. This is a tough one here, but we'll see what happens. Okay, what is one of the important purposes of having adequate coverage when you do pass away? Obviously, there's many reasons to have life insurance or accidental death coverage, but what's one of the important purposes? I'm looking for a specific one here.
Yeah, there's a bunch. I mean, the first obvious one is you want some type of check that's going to go to your loved ones because they have the cost or the burden of burying you. So that would be probably my first one. But there's a lot of other costs that go along with that too. But another thing that pops in my mind is this life insurance is the only way to transfer wealth from one party to another, tax-free and probate-free. So even if you left someone $1 million estate and someone contests a will and you wind up in probate court for 3 years, that person still has to be buried. So they kind of go hand in hand. I'm going to say that the top one, A, is to cover your burial, and B, I would say, is because it passes through probate.
That's awesome. Yep, those are 2 very, very good points. I was looking for a third one, and that is to essentially complete a relatively seamless or successful transition between that person being alive on a Saturday and not alive yet then on the next day on Sunday. So the reason I think about that is because, again, comparing the whole life or the term life to the accidental death policy, I have these discussions with my clients periodically. And when someone gets sick and ultimately passes away due to an illness, let's use cancer as an example, there is generally a pretty good lead time, amount of time for the family, for that individual, and for the other family members to do final preparations. You know, I'll use my father as an example. Unfortunately, he did pass away from cancer about 12 years ago, and it was about an 11-month cancer battle. Well, in those last few months before he did pass away, I remember him doing things like he went out and bought a new car for my mom because he didn't want him to go and her not to have a vehicle that was not going to last a long time. He had a couple investment properties with my brother, and he sold those to my brother, his interest to my brother, so he could get out of that. I'm sure he studied his retirement plans to make sure that my mom was going to be okay. I mean, he did a lot of things to plan for his, ultimately not being here. However, when an accidental death occurs, there is zero planning time. Literally, it's a phone call to a spouse or a family member explaining that, I'm sorry to tell you this, but, your loved one has passed away due to a car accident. So there's no time to plan. There's no time to review anything, to make any adjustments, to make any changes, to update anything. That spouse or that family is left with a sudden situation where if you have the accidental death policy, which again, you're going to get a lot more coverage for your money, just like this 70-year-old woman I'm speaking with today, all of a sudden that extra money can come in very handy to assist in that transition. For instance, maybe paying off a mortgage, buying that new car so you don't have to worry about that anymore. You can come up with a number of things, just living comfortably for the next 12 months while the surviving spouse is adjusting to that person not being at the breakfast table each morning, drinking coffee with them. So that's what I was looking for in terms of that transition, which I know is very important from an overall life insurance aspect, but also in regards to the unique situation of an accidental death.
Sure.
Okay. And then question number 5. Well, this is kind of a gimme, I think. So here's the question. So Shannon, doesn't it make sense to have both a life insurance policy and an accidental death policy?
Well, obviously, yes, it does, because like I said, you're going to die one day, and if you die too soon, then that accidental death plan is going to kick in, and that's stupid cheap for a whole lot of money.
Exactly. Okay. Well, very good. You recovered on the last question there. Good job. So that's what we just wanted to help everyone think about today. And again, our goal is to assist in information and get everybody thinking about how they can best plan for their family and their future, and help your surviving family members when that day does come to be in the best position they can be in. So Shannon, any closing comments here?
Nope. Good stuff, Paul.
All right. Very good. Well, we're going to sign off for today. And thanks, everyone, for joining us. And we'll see you next week for another episode of It's Your Life.
We sure will. See ya.